My name is Wally, and in this book we will be talking about As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. This is one of the books that really helped me when I was in the beginning of the journey of spirituality. I like the flow that is happening because now I'm starting to make a video a week, so you can expect every Friday or Saturday I will be posting a video about a book that I read from the past that has helped me in my spiritual journey and that I hope that it can help everyone. If you know about The Secret, this is mostly the same type of book which explains how is it that we are constantly thinking and not having control of our own minds, and then by thinking on default we are creating our present situation. I'm not going to speak too much about this one because it's so good, so I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, like, share any complaints, any suggestions that you have, and I'll see you next week. Enjoy the video.
All right, let's dive into this one. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. It's been around forever, right? Like over a century. And there's a reason for that. Yeah. This book, it really nails this idea that our thoughts, they're connected to like everything.
Yeah, it's not just another self-help book with fluffy affirmations. This one, it gives you a real structure to understand how your thoughts, they actually shape your world.
So true. And it's full of these like mind-blowing ideas, like our minds are gardens and our situations are mirrors showing us who we are. And get this, even our dreams, they can shape our future. Where do we even start?
Well, Allen, he starts with this core idea. He says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What he's saying is our thoughts, they're like seeds, they grow into actions, and then boom, that's who we become.
So wait, are we like planting a mental garden 24/7? I mean, are we filling it with negativity weeds or like cultivating these beautiful positive flowers?
Yeah, I love that analogy. And Allen, he's not messing around when it comes to negative thoughts. He has this powerful line, and I'm going to quote it here. Man is made or unmade by himself. In the armory of thought, he forges the weapons by which he destroys himself. He also fashions the tools with which he builds for himself heavenly mansions of joy and strength and peace.
Whoa. Okay, that's intense. It's like we're blacksmiths or something, forging our own destiny with every single thought. But like, what are these weapons and heavenly mansions he's talking about?
He's really talking about the impact our thoughts have, The weapons, those could be things like self-doubt or anger, maybe even fear. Those kinds of thoughts, they hold us back. They stop us from being our best selves. And they can wreck our relationships, even our health, our happiness. But then you have those heavenly mansions, right? Those represent the good stuff. Joy, confidence, resilience. Those are the things that make us thrive, build a good life, and, make a difference in the world.
Okay, so it's not just about thinking happy thoughts all the time. It's more about like understanding the power of our thoughts, good and bad, and then making good choices because they really do shape who we are, don't they?
You got it. And that leads us to another big idea from the book. The idea that the situations we find ourselves in, they're not random. They actually show us who we are inside. Allen puts it this way. Men do not attract that which they want, but that which they are.
So if I'm always in these frustrating situations, it's not just bad luck. It's a sign that something's off in my own thinking. Like, what if I keep having drama in my relationships? Maybe it's time to look at what I believe about love.
Absolutely. It's all about taking responsibility for the energy we bring into our lives. The situations we're in, they're like feedback, showing us where we're out of sync with our true selves. And if we're smart, we use them to grow.
This is making me feel kind of powerful. But hold on, what about things we can't control, like health problems? Can our thoughts really affect that kind of stuff?
Allen believed so. He argued that all that negativity, the fear, the anxiety, anger, that it can actually manifest as illness. Even today, with all the advances in medicine, we can't ignore that connection between mind and body. Just think how stress messes with you physically.
Okay, so maybe all these tension headaches, they're not just from stress. Maybe it's like my thoughts playing tricks on me. So does that mean a good laugh and a positive outlook? That's like medicine.
There's definitely something to that. The power of laughter, a positive mindset, that's real. But Allen goes even deeper. He's saying that when we cultivate good thoughts, pure thoughts, we're actually boosting our health and vitality.
So it's not just about slapping on a fake smile. It's about getting to the root of those negative thoughts and switching them out for something healthier. But like, how do we even do that? How do we go from just thinking to actually living with intention?
That's where purpose comes in. Having a clear goal, Allen is a big believer in aligning our thoughts with something we're aiming for. something that gives our actions direction. It doesn't have to be huge, like saving the world. It could be something simple, being a great parent or following a passion.
So we need a destination in mind, right? Like plugging in our mental GPS.
Yeah.
If we don't have that, we're just driving around aimlessly.
Exactly. And when we have that focus, we develop self-control, concentration, and the energy to overcome things that might have tripped us up before. He calls it creative force, that focused thought with purpose. It's what helps us go from just existing to really shaping our reality.
Man, I'm getting fired up here.
Yeah.
But Ellen, he doesn't stop there. He talks about dreams and visions. Is he saying our daydreams can actually influence our reality?
This is where things get a little mystical in As a Man Thinketh. Alan, he really believed in the power of visualization. He said that when we hold a clear picture in our mind, we can actually attract the things we need to make it happen.
Oh, like those vision boards people make, with pictures and affirmations and stuff. So it's more than just positive thinking.
Alan would say definitely. It all comes back to focused thought. Remember that quote about making weapons and building mansions? Well, here's another powerful one. The vision that you glorify in your mind, the ideal that you enthrone in your heart, this you will build your life by. This you will become.
Wow, that's incredible. So we're not just waiting around, we're actually creating our future through what we think and envision. But with all this talk about achieving goals and living the dream, it's easy to get caught up in the hustle. Where does peace fit into all of this?
That's a great question, and it brings us to one of the most beautiful ideas in the book, serenity. Alan calls it the last lesson of culture, something that comes from really understanding ourselves as being shaped by our thoughts.
Okay, I gotta be honest. Thought-evolved being sounds a little intimidating. Can we break that down?
It's simpler than it sounds. What he's saying is that we are the product of our thoughts. Everything about us, everything we experience, it starts with a thought. And as we realize this, we naturally start to feel more at peace inside.
So serenity, it's not just about feeling calm on the outside. It's about cultivating that deep inner peace that comes from mastering our thoughts.
You got it. Think of it like an inner compass that guides you through the tough times in life. It's not about avoiding challenges, it's about facing them with grace and wisdom.
Okay, I'm starting to see how powerful this concept is. But let's be real, sometimes life throws us curveballs. Things happen that we just can't control. How do we hold on to that serenity when those unexpected things pop up?
That's where the idea of circumstances as mirrors comes back in. Remember, Alan argues that what's happening around us often reflects what's going on inside of us.
So instead of freaking out about those external events, we can use them as a chance to look inward. Like, what are they telling me about my own thoughts and beliefs?
Exactly. It's about shifting our perspective. Instead of feeling like a victim, we can recognize the role our own thinking might be playing. It's not about blaming ourselves, it's about taking control of our power to create change.
That makes a lot of sense. But honestly, sometimes those challenges just feel so negative, it's hard to see them as anything else. How do we stay positive, or at least find that serenity when things are really tough?
That's where a strong sense of purpose really helps. When we have a meaningful goal, something that inspires us, we're less likely to get bogged down in negativity.
It's like having a mental lighthouse in a storm. But does that mean we need some huge world-changing purpose to find peace?
Not at all. Purpose can be found in everyday things. It could be as simple as being a loving partner, a supportive friend, a dedicated artist, or someone who brings joy to others.
So it's about finding what lights you up and using that as fuel to get through tough times. It's about seeing that even when things are chaotic, there's still beauty and meaning to be found.
And as we align our thoughts with our purpose, we start seeing opportunity where we used to see obstacles. We start attracting people and resources that help us achieve our vision.
Like the universe is on our side. But let's be honest, some people achieve success by being dishonest or manipulative. Does Alan talk about that? I mean, does As a Man Thinketh acknowledge that some people get ahead by playing dirty?
Absolutely. He's very clear on this. True success, lasting success, it's built on doing the right thing. He says that ultimately, the universe supports those who are honest, kind, and good.
So even if it looks like someone's winning by cutting corners, it's probably temporary and ultimately empty.
That's exactly what Alan would say. He compares it to building a house on sand. It might look impressive at first, but it won't last. True success comes from aligning what we do with our values.
So it's not just about what we achieve, but how we achieve it. It's about living with integrity and purpose, knowing that those things lead to a deeper sense of fulfillment.
And that fulfillment often comes with a deep sense of serenity. Remember, that's the jewel of wisdom Ellen talks about.
Serenity. It sounds like the ultimate reward for mastering our thoughts and living in alignment with our true selves.
And remember, serenity isn't about living a life without challenges. It's about finding that inner peace that helps us handle those challenges with grace and wisdom. It's about becoming the captain of our own ship, steering ourselves towards a life of purpose, meaning, and yes, even serenity.
It's starting to feel less like a chore and more like an adventure.
And this adventure, this journey of self-discovery, it all starts in the quiet spaces of our own minds.
But let's be real, we're all human. We're gonna have days where those negative thoughts creep in. How do we deal with those moments without beating ourselves up? I mean, it's like we're given this power to shape our lives, but then told we have to be perfect at it all the time. How do we balance that with being kind to ourselves?
That's such an important point. You know, Alan, he says real strength doesn't come from pretending we don't have weaknesses. It's about owning them and working with them. We're supposed to grow and change. That's the whole point.
So it's more like being a coach to ourselves, like cheering ourselves on as we go.
Exactly. And when we mess up, when those negative thoughts take over, those are actually really valuable moments. They show us where we need to focus, where we can be more understanding and compassionate with ourselves.
It's about progress, not perfection, right? But with all this focus on taking responsibility, it's easy to get stuck in this me mindset. Where does connecting with other people fit in?
You know, that's a great question. Alan, he focuses a lot on individual thought, but he doesn't say connection doesn't matter. Actually, he says that when we build inner peace and strength, we naturally become a source of support for others.
It's like that saying, a rising tide lifts all boats. The more we grow and live intentionally, the more we create a positive world around us.
That's right. And the other way around, too. When we're around people who are also growing, it creates this energy that helps us all move forward.
We're not alone in this, are we? We're all doing this together, helping each other out along the way.
That sense of shared purpose, it can be so powerful. It gives us strength when things are hard and reminds us that we're part of something bigger.
So it's not about isolating ourselves to improve. It's about using that growth to make a positive impact on our relationships, our communities, the whole world, really.
And those ripples, they all start with one thought that can spark an idea, a passion, maybe even an act of courage.
As we wrap up this deep dive into As a Man Thinketh, it's clear this book is more than just self-help. It's a call to action. It's like an invitation to become conscious creators.
It challenges us to take charge of our own lives, to realize that with every thought, we're either building something amazing or tearing ourselves down.
And that leads us to this really powerful question. If you could pick one thought to fill your mind today, what would it be?
And what kind of world would that thought create? It's something to really think about.
What a great way to end this deep dive.
Yeah.
As a Man Thinketh, it really gives us the tools to create lives full of purpose, meaning, and serenity. And it all starts with realizing how powerful our thoughts are and making good choices.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. We hope you're inspired to explore your own thinking and create a life that reflects your best self.